gotta strike while the iron is hot. One of one, don't follow flocks. Man, I got this on lock. Team Harvey, team hustle, team can't be stopped. Just cop 900 glory, yeah, I'm fresh out the shop. Let's talk bowling. I'm an expert on the lane. Yeah. Smooth approach, about to roll a perfect game. And well connected with the sports biggest names. We can't talk unless the X on the frame. I'm here asking the questions, clear the air and confusion. Fresh, humble, and arrogant with the logo infusion. Red cup for the right vibe. I got the answers, you going live with Bowtie.
What's up, guys? How you guys doing? Man, it is your main man here, Mr. Bowtie himself, Brandon Grant. Tonight, I have this young, sexy guy, or he think he's sexy. I don't know. You guys can tell him. You know, he's just Scott to me. Hey, Scott. No. But no, man, I got my boy on here, Scott Norton. He no longer bows, which is I don't know why. That's just loser type, but we're gonna find out why. But I'm gonna bring my boy Scott Norton to the screen. Scotty, what's up?
Hello.
How are you?
Hey, not much. Doing good. I don't know about young anymore.
Yeah, you still look like you're 20 something.
Oh, well, that's nice because that ship sailed nearly 10 years ago.
Yeah, man. So how's life? How's life treating you?
Oh, good. I mean, it's rough. Obviously, it's rough for everybody in quarantine, but I mean, doing what I can, just putting one foot in front of the other, just like everybody else.
Well, I jump. I don't put one foot in front of the other. I like bunny hop or some crap, man. So I'm trying to get past everybody else, but clearly it's the same thing.
Yeah. It's been rough, you know, being a small business owner during quarantine, and especially here in Southern California where it's, you know, closed, open, closed, open, closed, open. So hard to keep up sometimes, but, you know, still living the dream.
Hey, I know you watch the news and watch everything that's going on as far as, you know, school districts. Look at this guy's cup, guys. Hold on. Look at this. Look. Was he trying to outdo me? Is Scott trying to outdo me as far as cup wise? I don't know.
You're laying by the pool. You need the right cup. What can I tell you?
So when can I come to the house and sit by the pool and have some
Anytime.
Yeah, right. That's what you tell me. And then next thing I know, I'm like, hey, Scott, when is pool day? And then you're like,
again?
That part right there. That right there. Oh, look, I got a question from Kenny Saxton. I didn't even start yet, Kenny. You already shooting questions. How was your experience bowling on TV in the PBA for the first time?
It was the full range of emotions that you would expect. I mean, if you remember my first show, I was top seed, thankfully, so I only had to bowl one match one way or the other, and I happened to throw the first 8 on my first TV show. But let me tell you, before that, when we're in like practice warm up before the show started, I missed the head pin left. I missed the head pin right. I couldn't make a spare. Wow. Like I was like a bundle of nerves, and then I have no idea what happened. Like as soon as it was my turn to bowl, it was just like the switch flipped.
Really?
And it was just tunnel vision. I'd never actually experienced anything like that before, where it was like when I was first practicing, I could see everybody everywhere. I could see everybody moving.
Right.
Like all the people like down the lane on both sides, I could see all of them moving. And the minute that the camera turned on, I couldn't see anything except the lane. I couldn't even see the cameras. I couldn't even see the TVs next to me.
Wow.
It's crazy. Yeah.
I like them. When they say locked and loaded and just ready to go, that's exactly what you were.
Yeah, you wouldn't have known it from before the show started taping, but at least when it mattered, it happened.
That is so. So was that a major, or what tournament was that?
No, that was Chameleon. I won 2 Chameleons and 1 Players Championship.
Okay, and the Chameleon is that's short, maybe no.
It's 39. It's 39, but low volume, which is why my voodoo roll worked on that.
Yeah,
because everybody else had a hard time getting it to the front.
Yeah, you have no rotation at all. Yeah, I know that. And I was like, how does he get the ball to do this? Yeah.
Because I have super high tilt. High tilt, no rotation meant that I left a lot of flat 7 pins. And that was the thing. When you bowled against me on TV, you knew that you were going to have to shoot 220 or better because I was not shooting less than like between 205 and 215. But you also probably knew that if you shot 250, you were going to win because I never really shot, other than my first game on TV, I never really shot anything over 230 because, you know, it was TV. So you have extra, you know, adrenaline going. So it was really easy for me to gas a couple of shots a little bit so that I could flat 7.
Uh-oh. Look at it. Look, here you go.
No.
Look.
Oh, no.
Scott Norton. Who is Tina?
I mean, Chris, why don't you tell him? Because you're the one that keeps bringing her around.
Whoa.
No. So, okay, so Tina is twofold here. There is the Tina from Freddy Krueger that we always love to like. We love like the scene at the beginning of the very first like Nightmare on Elm Street where Tina is like running away, and Freddy Krueger goes, "Tina, watch this," and cuts off his finger. And then that kind of like rolled into some kind of like karma demon thing that like whenever things would happen, it'd be Tina that was doing it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, I just want to let you know, this is not PG. So if you want to just come on and just rip Scott a new one or tell some great stories, we're all in for it. I know you guys have some great stories to tell for sure.
Oh, I have a lot of great bowling stories to tell. Oh.
Brian, what's up, B? Said, miss you, my friend.
Brian.
Hope you and mom are doing well during this time.
We are. My parents are at the beginning of the pandemic, we thought my dad was going to be like, this is easy because what he does is stays home and watches TV all the time. So he was like, hey, I've been training my whole life for this. And then a month into the quarantine, he's like, I can't take it anymore. I need to hug somebody. It was really cute, actually. And then mom, she's the social butterfly of the world. So
yes. Where is mom at? Chris, text mom and tell mom she needs to be on the show right now. Clearly. But no, hey, let the viewers know. For people that don't know, like I said, I've roughly been knowing you I don't know for how long now, but hey, where were you born and raised?
Born and raised in Orange County. Well, I was born in oh man.
Don't mess the eyebrows up either.
Rio Hondo. In is that Downey? I guess I was born in Downey.
Yep.
Yeah. And then we lived in Southgate until I was like 4 or 5, and then we moved to Cypress, and that's where I grew up.
Okay.
So I'm like born and raised like right in that little North Orange County, South LA County bubble.
Ah. All right. I always thought you were like further that way. I knew you were a SoCal guy, but I just thought you were like more, east.
South? Oh, east. No, yeah, no. I grew up and I grew up going to Huntington Beach like every week. Or Bolsa Chica, like one of them. Like that was just my
so you're a beach bum.
Oh yeah, totally. Missy and I used to go to the beach when I came back from undergrad in 2005. We were at the beach for at least 2 hours, 3 or 4 times a week. At least 2 hours in the water.
Wow, that's crazy. Hey, how many siblings do you have?
One brother who just turned 31.
Does he bowl?
Oh yeah.
I've
always said he has more talent than I do. He just never wanted to, put in the effort to. Well, I mean, he didn't have any passion for the game. He just liked doing it for fun. It's totally fine. But I still contend to this day that he had more natural talent than I do.
There you go. Hey, what challenges did you have growing up as a kid, as a youth to teenager?
Well, the biggest challenge I'd say is that, well, it was growing basically, I mean, it was growing up being a gay youth, like always knowing that I was different and just trying to come to terms with that, both myself in a bowling community that isn't known for being super accepting of that.
Yep.
And just learning how to handle other people's BS. Because
How scared were you when you told your parents?
Oh, I was terrified. I was terrified, which is weird. It's weird. Well, I was more scared about my dad. I actually wasn't as worried about my mom because you would think, you know, she bowled out on tour with lesbians for 25 years. So the concept of being gay is not something that, you know, should have shocked her. And it should have shocked neither of my parents that I was gay, considering when I was 4 or 5 years old, I was upstairs dancing to Olivia Newton-John videos.
Oh.
Yeah.
But that's a kid, 4 or 5, you know, parents think that's cute.
No, I know. But there were signs. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
There were signs.
Okay. Well, like I said, you know, but it's just, like I said, because at that age, you would think parents were like, oh, look at him, he's so cute. And then you look at the video and then all of a sudden you're like, well, wait, I guess these were signs he was trying to tell us a long time ago. And then you guys just never really caught on to it. So when did you officially, like, at what age it was just like, hey, I'm gay and boom, this is it?
I told my mom about my first boyfriend when I was, I want to say 17. I didn't tell my dad until I was 18 or 19.
Graduated high school already and you're gone.
Yeah, I was living in Fullerton at that point.
Oh, is that where you went to college?
I went 1 year at Cal State Fullerton, and then I moved to Utah and did the rest of my tenure at the university. Well, I met somebody in Utah.
Okay.
I moved there, and that didn't last. But I figured, well, I'm here, I might as well finish my undergrad. So I finished my undergrad there, and it was actually really good for me because you think it's hard, you know, being gay in Southern California. It's a little bit harder being gay in Salt Lake.
Why is that?
It's quite a bit more conservative than Southern California. And on top of that, it is, it's very run by the Mormon Church.
Yes, that I do know.
The entire city state, like it's kind of just run by the Mormon Church. Yeah. And so it's not very open-minded, let's say. But it was good because it taught me how to grow thicker skin, how to kind of stand up for myself in a culture that wasn't otherwise going to coddle me.
Right. There you go. Ed asks, what is your best memory from the SoCal Open at Valley View Lanes?
Oh, man, there's a lot. I mean, I was only there 1 year. It was my first year out of juniors, because back then, you know, it was like juniors and adults and you couldn't mix them. I know there's like certain rules how juniors can bowl in adult stuff or something. Right. I don't really know what it all is now.
Yeah.
But I will say that my team was really fun. I just enjoyed, like, it was a great experience because I was a pretty successful youth bowler in Southern California.
Okay.
And so I had in my mind, I was already like taking steps towards like, okay, well, now it's time to go. I was already on Team USA at that point, and I was like already thinking about steps after that, like Pro Tour and all this stuff. Right. And it really humbled me because I just assumed, being a stupid teenager, that I would go out there and just wipe the floor with everybody. And that wasn't the case. There were a lot of really great bowlers in that league. I mean, it was a full scratch league. So it was I think there was a team cap, but maybe not. I can't remember, but it was full scratch. And it really, you know, let me know that I had more work to go because I wasn't as good as I thought, which was good. I needed a slap in the face.
It humbled
I
you.
think that was
Basically.
my best memory. I think that was my best memory, was the realization that um, I had more to grow.
Hey, Brian said, "What does Scott and Dave have in their moms have in common?"
Do you know the answer to that?
I do know the answer to that.
Well, I know the answer to that. He asked
Yeah.
you.
I do know, Brian. If you look, I'm interviewing Scott, but if you want me to answer, Brian, it is they have a title and Team USA. I
No,
believe
just the titles. It's just the
just,
titles.
just the titles.
Yeah, it's we're the only mother son, the combination mother son that both have professional titles.
Okay, there you go. I knew it was something.
Yeah.
Either it was like Team USA or titles. I knew it had something to
Yeah.
do with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris said, "Hey, who was the first person you came out to?"
Funny you should ask. Person who was the first person I came out to.
And why was it
Night.
Chris?
We were sitting. I assumed he was, and we had already talked a lot, and I don't know. It just, I felt comfortable with him. So it was one night after junior league. I ran a junior gold league at Rossmore Bowl. I don't know if you remember Rossmore. You don't remember Ross? Oh man, that was my home house. It was in Seal Beach.
Oh yeah,
It was yeah,
I've
it
never
was off
bowled
of
there.
Seal Beach Boulevard.
Never heard of it.
Oh well, it closed. I want to say like 18 years ago, 20 years ago, something like that.
Oh, okay.
But we were sitting in the parking lot after league, and I was like, I have something to tell you. And it was like this wave of fear and all this stuff. And so, yeah, he was the first person I came out to.
Okay. Well, Chris, I'm glad Scott had you to be there. That's awesome.
And it was really important. It was really important having the first experience be a good one.
Yeah. There you go. Hey, Ron Sims Jr. asks, what was the toughest thing you had to deal with on tour?
Oh. There were, I could obviously just say, being gay out on tour, but I really don't think that was the hardest thing I had to deal with. It was hard. Like, don't get me wrong. It was difficult because as much as everybody, wanted to act like they were very cosmopolitan and okay with it, there's still that slight air of, the locker room alpha male thing going on that kind of excluded me. It's not that they did anything specific that they were like hateful or mean or whatever. It wasn't anything like that. It was just, the mentality. But I would say for me, the toughest thing was just week in, week out. As a left-hander, you knew in practice whether or not you were fighting for a paycheck or whether, oh crap, we have a good look this week, I better make the show because next week I'm not going to make a paycheck. And it was that constant feeling of, it was a lot of anxiety, and it was almost more anxiety when the left was good because you knew that the left wasn't necessarily going to be good for the next few weeks after you had a good week. So if you didn't cash in now, you weren't going to cash in then. So I think for me, that was the hardest thing I had to learn to deal with in my time out on tour was just week to week. It's just a matter of get out there and you bowl your best 10 frames per game you can, and that's all you can do.
Right. Hey, besides bowling, what other interests did you have growing up?
Okay. I played a lot of tennis. I was number 3 in the county in my age group at one point.
Oh, wow.
If I had it do over again, I might have done that a little bit more because I love tennis. And one of my favorite things when I came home from undergrad was I would drive out to the valley and see Chris, and Chris and I would play tennis in 100-degree heat for like 4 hours.
Oh my gosh.
It was so fun.
It's not fun playing in the heat, Scott. What do you guys?
It's fine. They had a vending machine with vitamin water. We were good. And we were like 23, so we were young. But yeah, I play online game a lot. I'm a big nerd. Hence the name of my business is Nerdy by Nature Escape Rooms, and that's why. Yeah. It's mostly like nerd culture. I love, sci-fi movies. I love online gaming. I love science. I love all of that. And then I also love sports. I love playing tennis. I love watching football, baseball. Not a fan of basketball.
Okay.
But yeah, I do. I mean, I love baseball and football.
That's awesome. Good to know. Hey, when you went to college, what did you study?
Mm-hmm. I was a history major,
Okay.
specifically ancient history.
Why?
You want to know why? It's not even because like I wanted to. It was like a step. It was one of those things that my entire youth life was all about stepping stones rather than, and for all of you young people listening out there, take heed. My entire youth life was more about stepping stones and what I thought I had to do to get to the next step rather than taking care of what made me happy and brought me joy.
Yeah.
So I did history because I needed a degree, or I thought I needed a degree, and I have a photographic memory. So it was really easy for me to just read notes or text or whatever, memorize it, and then get A's on the test because I just, call up the picture of the thing. Was it stimulating to me? Not really. I mean, it was cool learning about all these older cultures, but what would I have done in retrospect? I would have gone into chemistry, some kind of biochemistry, physics, something like that. I love chemistry and physics.
All right, because you just said you like sci-fi, this science, and all.
No, I love it.
Hey, what'd you go to school for? Oh yeah, I got a degree in ancient history. You're like, that has nothing to do with what's. Yeah,
I know. Yeah, that's why. And if I had to do it over again, I would definitely change that. I would definitely have pursued a degree in science because I love that. Even if I wasn't as good at it, because I had a 3.9 GPA in undergrad or something like that, and I probably would not have if I had been a physics or chem major. But I would have been happy.
That easy. That's for sure.
No, I would have worked way harder.
Yeah. Hey, Elijah Sled said, what was the atmosphere like bowling in the Premier League?
It is an experience I will never forget, and it is one of the only things I miss about bowling. It is, there aren't words to really describe the feeling, but I imagine that that's how other star athletes in other sports feel when they go play a home game. Is that sense of the crowd like going absolutely nuts and cheering and chanting and all of this stuff. I can only imagine that's what it is like for them, but we don't really experience that as bowlers. So to experience that was just amazing. And they were so wonderful. And more than being fans, they were friends. Like I still talk to a dozen or so of them at least to this day.
Okay, that's cool.
So it's more than just a crazy party festival for a weekend. With some team bowling involved as well. Yeah, it's like the fans there. It's an intimate environment, and they really connect with us, and that's why we love it there so much.
There you go. Hey, look, they say, went to the show and watched you win the Earl Anthony Championship at Thunder Bowl in Allen Park. That was awesome.
That was awesome. That was really cool. My mom used to do clinics and open bowling centers with Earl Anthony. So, I knew him. I didn't know him because I was a bit too young, but, I knew him. Like I could have got up and said hi to him and we would have known each other kind of thing. But after he passed, every time we would bowl a tournament, because there were plenty here on the West Coast that were Earl Anthony Memorial tournaments. Yeah. Every time I bowled one, I put so much pressure on myself to win it because I wanted an Earl Anthony Memorial trophy in my house. It meant a lot to me. He's the greatest, certainly the greatest left-handed bowler of all time. And we can, debate for ad nauseum, ad infinitum about whether or not he's the greatest bowler of all time. But he's certainly the greatest left-hander of all time. And that's why it meant a lot. And he was a family friend. So between those two things, it meant a lot to me to have that title.
Hey, Ryan said it was never an issue. Chris Scott and others, we were friends no matter what until the Phoenix guys came to take on the Southern California guys. Then it was game on.
I mean, I guess it could be game on if we. How is it really game on when there wasn't a game to be on? Like SoCal just handled you guys. I don't know what the problem.
Whoa! Whoa! All right, Scott. Scott putting the gloves on and punching. Wow.
Yeah, it was funny. There were so many fun rivalries in juniors. It was the SoCal with the Phoenix Bowlers and SoCal versus NorCal, and even like SoCal versus Hawaii, because we would bowl a tournament in Hawaii every year too, and they would come bowl one in San Diego. So, I mean, there were tons of fun rivalries, and there was enough. There was some trash talking, but it was always in good fun.
Right. Let's say, unfortunately, PBA is paying professional sport. Women's volleyball makes more. Yeah. Probably. Team Lefty, Gail. Hey, when I'm doing a show, Gail, do not put Team Lefty on my screen, okay? Please, just get rid of it. Everyone knows how I feel about that. I am, hey, Scott, and you know I am a lefty hater all day, okay? Earl Anthony, my friend, would turn over in his grave if he saw the PBA today. I don't know if he'll turn over, but, you know, who knows?
I don't know if that's necessarily true, only because, well, I mean, in what aspect? Are we talking about, like, you know, two-handers, the fact that it's all about high rev right now? I'm not sure what he's, or if he's talking about, you know, the level of pay. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
But if it is referring to the two-hander and the high rev, I mean, that's part of the reason I'm not out there anymore. Most of the reason I'm not out there anymore is because it really just stopped being fun. Like, and not in a way, like, I would have been fine, like, if I still enjoyed it and had fun at my job, but literally the only time I even wanted to be out there were the days that I made TV shows, and the rest of the time it just felt like I was, like, slowly on a march to my death. Like, that's how bad it was.
Oh, yeah.
And finally, like we talked about before, with me just trying to, you know, step stone to the next thing, I started figuring out what I wanted for my life instead of what everyone else expected of me for my life.
Do you think people expected you to bowl because who your mom was?
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%. And my brother kind of got a pass for that because I was out there. They asked him a few times, and he was just like, "No, nope, not gonna."
So why
and
you
then,
didn't say
and
no?
then that was kind of it.
Why didn't you say no?
Well, I mean, it was really hard to leave because it was a lot of external positive feedback. And yeah, it was what I had grown up kind of learning from my mom, because I watched her out on tour and I watched her in pro-ams, and she was always, you know, the smiley one that everyone loved to be around. Everyone, when they went to different cities, everybody knew her because she would always be kind and friendly to everyone. And so I went out with that same mentality, and it was exhausting because when you're out there trying to please everybody else, you end up, you know, just giving parts of yourself away to everybody else.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, then, you know, you would get people, "Oh, I love watching you bowl and you throw it so good," and blah, blah, blah. And it was just that constant stream of positive feedback that you would get. And it was like a drug. It really was.
Right.
I mean, in all of the like neurochemical ways, I would say it was like a drug, because I would almost be like a junkie that was going through withdrawals when I would not get that for a few weeks. Like, I would start falling into a depression, thinking I was awful and not good enough and all these different things.
Right.
Just because I wasn't getting external feedback.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So how
did
you mentally get yourself back from being from that right there?
Oh, I will say that it didn't happen until shortly before I left tour. I started going to therapy, and it really taught me how to see the triggers in myself that I needed all the external feedback because I wouldn't give myself any positive feedback.
Right.
The only value I had was through others' opinions. And there's no simple way to, undo that thinking. It's a really slow process. I don't know if you've ever been to therapy, but it's not a fast process. It's a really slow process of self-discovery.
I've never been to therapy, but and it's so crazy because someone just told me on Sunday, Ed Hansen, don't know if you know him. Yeah, but Ed said, hey, something. I said, I'm not that good. Just like that. I always said, I try to keep myself humble, and it's like, I'm not that good.
Yeah.
He walked up to me and told me, he said, ever say that about yourself. And I'm like, well, I'm just try to keep myself humble. He said, that's humble is one thing, but at the same time, believe in yourself because you're very good. And I've never had anybody tell me that, ever. And I start thinking, I was like, dude, I say that all the time. And sometimes it may get to me because of the negative side. And I'm just like, whoa, like that. And when Ed told me that, it brought something back to me. So I truly appreciate that. And you're telling me,
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's a lot of negative self-talk that ends up manifesting. It manifests itself, and it's self-fulfilling.
Yeah.
If you keep telling yourself that it's hard because when you're in a depressive state, like there's no other way of thinking. So it was a long process of self-reflection and learning how to be okay with me as me and not me as this big figure that was on TV, because that was the only way I defined myself, was as this big smiley guy on TV, or whatever, however people perceive me when I'm on TV or in a pro-am or whatever. Like that was my person. Actually that was the mask I was putting on. Turn on the cheerleader smile. You just turn it on. You just turn it on. I would be sitting in back waiting for a program to start, and I'd flip the switch, turn on the cheerleader smile, and just smile for 3 hours so that everyone was happy and having fun.
Wow.
And that was the mask, but that was the thing that I was trying to attain, and it was fake.
Yeah. Hey, look, Brian Hurst say the kiss heard around the world.
Yeah.
Was that so? Did you and it was Craig, right?
It was Craig. Actually, yeah, it was Craig, and it was Craig wanted to, but was afraid to. Like, not afraid, but like he was like, I don't know if I should. Is that okay? Like what? And Missy shoved him out in the approach and go.
Yes, my thing is, did you guys talk about it, knowing you were number one seed?
I had no idea. I had no idea it was coming.
And I'm sitting there and I'm like, dude, it was like, was it impulse? Was it emotions? Was it just it just happened on national TV? And I remember sitting there watching and I was like, what the hell did I just see?
Yeah.
I was like,
it was 100% just out of the blue. Nothing was discussed. I didn't even know it was going to happen. But I mean, that said, it's like it was the most natural thing ever. When you win a title, you kiss your spouse. Like
that part right there. That part right there.
I mean, who would have thought?
Yes. Yeah, and that's what I was talking to my buddies earlier. I said it doesn't matter. I said husband, wife, husband, hubby, and man, and that doesn't matter. I said if I win a title, and whoever I'm with, dude, and they're there front row and center, the hug, the kiss, it's part of the game. Yeah.
And there were two reactions. Most of the reaction was like, this isn't a big deal. And which I was a little bit shocked about, honestly. I thought oh God, I'm like, my social media is going to blow up with all this hate and blah, 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 blah. But it wasn't. It was largely either, why is this even a thing? Most of these people not knowing that I was the first same-sex kiss in ESPN history. But there was the internet trolls, but who gives them the time of day?
Yeah, seriously, dude, that was, and I said honestly, I think that could have been the best thing for you guys, and the best thing
it was. I think it could have been. I think it could have been better for the PBA if it had, and I was fully willing to do whatever circuits of talking or what, but no one seemed to. It got picked up by the news outlets, and then it kind of went away in a few days, and that was kind of it.
Right. Did you get any pushback from the PBA for even doing that?
No, I didn't get. And in fact, before that show, I apparently before my first show, I mean, they referred to Craig as my friend on the first show, even though, I mean, we weren't married yet, but we were together.
Right.
And the second show, we were married, and I was like, I don't care what term you want to use. If you don't want to use husband, that's fine. Like, if you're not comfortable with that, but I am going to require that you at least refer to him as my spouse. Like, I don't care what name you want to give it, but it needs to be that level of relationship name. Like, that you wouldn't say any, if it's Sean and Sarah Rash, you wouldn't say Sean's friend. You would say Sean's wife.
Absolutely.
And I just want the same thing everybody else had. That's all I wanted. And it was before that show that happened. And so the entire show, because I ran the ladder that show, so the entire show, they kept saying spouse, 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 spouse the whole time, which was nice. That was a nice affirmation too.
Yeah, that's awesome. But like I said, all you asked for was a little respect. Hey, if that's my spouse, it's my spouse. It's not my friend. Friend and spouse, well, I mean, are different levels.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the thing. I wasn't even, to me, it wasn't even like, I just want to be treated the same as everybody else. Everybody else has their wife, because I was the only gay person out there at that point until Anthony came out. Everybody else had their wife or girlfriends or whatever at their telecasts. And all I wanted was the same treatment of, okay, if you're going to call this their wife, then he's my husband.
Yeah. There you go. Hey, Ed said, what was your favorite memory in bowling? And he said, also, missed you, brother.
No, miss him too. It's so hard to come up with one because I've been fortunate enough to have so many wonderful experiences as a result of the sport. That's why I'm not sad that I'm not doing it anymore, but I'm also happy that I did it because I got to meet so many wonderful people from all over the world. I got to have so many wonderful experiences as a result. I mean, up there obviously is going to be, bowling the PBA League in Maine. I got invited to bowl La Raza in Costa Rica for a number of years, and that was always a wonderful experience. I got invited to bowl the Japan Cup a couple of years, and Tokyo is just amazing. So it's so hard to pin down one thing. Yes, Star Wars.
Star Wars. I think I've probably watched that one time ever.
Oh, yeah. The best.
Thank you for sharing that and being open about it. It is many that have the same issue and don't know why or what to do. Also, too macho to seek counseling.
Yeah, it's I'll be honest, I was reluctant to seek counseling myself because I really didn't think I had. This was, again, back in my mid-20s. I was like, well, I don't really think I have that many issues, blah, blah, blah. I can handle myself, and I have a good head on my shoulders, and I know how to budget money, and, all of these different things. And it wasn't until I went to counseling that I realized, oh, wow, that's what's causing me to be unhappy. That's what's causing me to, talk down on myself all the time. And it's now why I'm able to talk so openly about all these things, because I have a much better sense of self now.
Right.
And I'm able to accept the fact that I'm not perfect. And that's okay, because nobody is. Because that wouldn't have been okay before. I was striving for perfection. I had to always look good. I had to always perform my best. I always had to be nice. I always had to be smart. I had to be the perfect person. And a lot of that was what I felt to compensate for being gay. Like, I had to, because I was in the spotlight, because I was in a position where I was going to be scrutinized and under a microscope, all of these other boxes had to be ticked so that I was a good representative for the community. Which is silly because I I could be me and still be a good representation for the community. It's
Absolutely.
okay to be a human with faults and flaws and still be a good representation for the community.
You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. Sherry Stingley, she lives up north, said if there was something you could change about the PBA, what would it be?
Hey, I don't know. But I think there are a couple things I would say. One, I think the PBA should be up. Hi, Carlton.
Yes.
I think the PBA should be international.
Yep.
And the only way that it could be international is, hi, Missy, I miss your face too. The only way it could be international is if there was, a lot more money than what there is now. Because, there's no way that we could afford to those kinds of travel expenses under the current budget. But there are other countries that have a large pool of talent that could be showcased. Middle East, there's Japan, Korea, the Philippines, Malaysia. All of the Pacific, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore. I'm just thinking of all of those islands in South Asia. And then obviously there's, England and all of Scandinavia. There's just so many opportunities to showcase talent from everywhere that if it could be done to bring bowling global, I think that would bring a larger market available for more sponsors that aren't necessarily solely American. Like, for instance, you have BNP Paribas that has a lot of involvement with tennis.
Right.
And I know it's different. It's different. Everyone likes to compare bowling to golf and tennis, and it's just hard because they're always seen as like a higher class sport. So they get higher class sponsors, which means they have higher prize funds.
Right.
If I was to change one thing, it would be to devise a way for that to happen, because it's always the people from Europe, Korea, Japan come here 1 week, or, in like Jason's case or Osku's case or whatever, like they come for like most of the season.
Right.
But I think it would be even better if we went there and there and there and there and there, The other thing I would change is, it needs to be a full tour. Domestic, international, whatever, it needs to be a full tour. It needs to be the old 32 weeks a year and have enough money so that the top 50 or 60 can make a decent living. Because right now it's basically the top 8 or 10 that can live but based off of their prize funds. And granted, like most people have some form of sponsorship deals, but it's silly that we're basically spending our money because we have to pay our entry fees in every tournament. So we're basically fighting each other for our own money.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing. They said, hey, the top 8 or 10, they eat a lot, as far as money wise, but after that top 10, everybody else is just crumbs.
Well, it's hard. I mean, it literally it's difficult to even break even on a week if you don't make the TV show. And only 5 people make the show, or sometimes 4, depending on what TV show it is. So you have a field of 100 people, and only 4 or 5 people are going to like make a decent profit that week.
Right. Hey, I know you had your run with Team USA. Congrats on that. Hey, how many medals do you have?
How many what? I'm sorry, you cut out there a little bit.
How many countries did you go visit when you're doing a little tour?
So I was actually only on Team US. I was only on Junior Team USA 1 year, 2000, and I was on Team USA 1 year in 2001. I won Junior Nationals, and then I won Adult Nationals, and those were the only 2 times I was ever on Team USA. And I just never got picked onto the team after that.
Why do you think?
Well, we all have our suspicions, don't we? Not so much recently. Back then, there was a larger. It was worse. It was worse before. I wouldn't say that was the case now. I mean, once they start allowing pros on, I wouldn't consider myself to be part of that group.
Right. But do you feel if you didn't come out and say you were gay, you would have had a longer run on different things?
If I didn't do that, then yeah, I think I would have. Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
But, that's how it is.
Look at this guy.
Oh no, not even a little bit, dear. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. Just reminiscing and having some nostalgia.
Chris, get him out. Get him out, Chris. Only you can do this.
No. If Missy couldn't get me to bowl to Lucy, nobody's going to be able to get me to do anything.
How long do you and Missy's relationship go back?
I told her that I liked her when I was 14.
You liked her in what?
Oh, no, I wanted to be her boyfriend. I want her to be my girlfriend when I was 14.
Shut up.
And then she said, oh, yes. Oh, yes. I told this story at her wedding. I told this story at her wedding. Yeah, I told her, like, I really liked her and I hope she liked me too. She was really, sweet about it. She's like, oh, I'm not really looking for anything right now. And then 2 months later, she was in a relationship. And then later, I found out she's like, oh, he doesn't know he's gay yet. So she knew back then. I mean, wow. I knew, but I didn't know. Kind of, I always knew, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
And but we've been like attached at the hip since we were like 18. Our best friendship goes like through 20 years. It's like Chris and I's friendship goes back to when I was 15, which is why I'm so thankful again for bowling, because it brought me my closest friends and family.
Right. That's cool. Tyrone Julian asks, are you going into coaching?
I would be happy to. I would need to study up a bit because I'm a bit rusty. But, the one thing about being out on tour for a long time is the only way that you can be successful week to week to week is to learn to watch ball motion and learn to see when adjust. And yes, I know I'm left-handed, but learn to see when the things are changing. But even for the righties, like, it's sometimes it wasn't so much about me knowing when I had to move, but it was like knowing, okay, the right side's starting to open up. So I need to, put my foot on the gas. Because I could be doing fine, sitting in 10th, sitting in 8th, and then all of a sudden I start shooting 220 and getting passed by 30 pins a game. So it's I would like to coach because I had to learn to watch ball motion so well.
Hey, here's a question for you right here.
Oh God.
It's not bad. Hey,
okay.
I know you passed the bar test, not the one with the drinks.
Oh, I don't pass that bar. I go in every time.
Hey, how many attempts did it take you to pass? Again, we're going to ask again, Scott. How many attempts did you take to pass the bar?
I passed on my first time.
Wow. You passed the bar.
I passed the bar on my first try, and I remember it's a 3-day test. No. You don't want me. Just because I passed the bar does not make me a good attorney. Trust me. So I remember going back to my hotel room because I got a hotel. I was taking the bar in Ontario.
Yep.
And that's Chris. I was taking the bar in Ontario, and I didn't feel like driving back and forth every day, so I got a hotel room for the 3 days that I was there. I remember going back to my hotel after the first test day and just crying myself to sleep for like 4 hours because I was sure I failed. Because I made the mistake. A lot of my friends were at the same place. I made the mistake of going out to lunch with them in between and talking about the test. And I was like, oh, I didn't put that. Oh, I didn't put that. Oh, I missed that. And then I was just sure that I'd failed.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I found out I passed because I don't know how I would have done it again. I honestly, that was horrible. That experience was terrible.
Hey, I think if you would have done it again, you probably would not have passed for the simple fact sitting there with your friends talking, now you start second guessing yourself instead of
100%.
you doing what you have to do.
That's why I
yeah.
didn't do it the next 2 days. I did not do that the next 2 days. Like the next 2 days, I just went out to lunch by myself.
Really?
Yeah, because I was just like, this isn't going to do me any good. I'm either going to pass or fail based on what I know, not what they, it's already done by the time I talk to them. So what's the point of talking to them about it?
True. Look, Sherry says the PBA, she feels that it looks for some type of, a cookie cutter, basically, if you're asking her.
I mean, it could, yeah, I could. Like, I would say that there are, it's tough. And it's especially tough. It's especially tough for left-handers right now. I feel like the tour right now is really, you have to do one of two things. You either have to hit the ball really, really hard, like most of the two-handers do, and some of the not two-handers, but you either have to just absolutely crank on the ball, or you have to have like that Pete Weber soft hand. Like more like Chris Prather, I'd say. Like he's got a softer hand at the bottom.
That guy's really good.
He's really good.
Yeah.
But I would, and the thing is that the only lefty that's really had any success out on tour has, can bend his joint 15 different directions that nobody else can. So that
and who is
makes it
that?
a little tough. Jacob Buttriff.
Yeah, that guy.
He's double jointed. Like, and he can get his hand in positions that like we can't physically get our hand in, which opens up a lot of different opportunities for him to score and do things with the ball that we couldn't do. Just physically, like actually physically could not do because we're not double jointed.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Oh, let's see what Sherry said. Kind of that only spectrum colors, NBA players goofing around promoting a sport. There's no one that look like them sponsored to participate because we are out here.
I think that an outreach program, I actually think that it would be in the PBA's benefit to reach out to Nisei, to TMBA. Those are the two that are coming off the top of my head right now. Igbo, but I mean, they kind of do, but not really. It would be important for them to do a reach out, and that way they could draw on some of the talent from those organizations, because there's certainly a lot of really good talent in like TMBA and Nisei. I just off the top of my head, I'm thinking of like George Gohagen and Carlton Chambers, and my brain is Pharaoh. Like, I'm just thinking of all of these men of color that are really solid players, but perhaps didn't get as many opportunities as some other people did, or I'm not sure. I can't answer why. That's where my privilege comes in, that I never really had to think about those things.
Right.
And but I think it would be really important. And no, I'm not practicing law right now. I am running my escape room full time.
You guys hear that? He has an escape room. So we got.
I do.
We have to. He invited me, but then COVID hit, and it's kind of been shut down. But how many escape rooms?
You should come. Right now we have two. We have two games. One of them is an Illuminati themed game that is more of a puzzle game. There's tons of different like word puzzles, number puzzles, all those kinds of things. It's very well. It's pretty immersive. It's well themed. I'm really happy with it. Second one just opened. It is a pirate themed adventure room where we actually built a pirate ship in one of the rooms. And you have to like navigate your pirate ship to a cave with buried treasure and then find the treasure in a cave. It's pretty fun. It was really fun coming up with the concept and like finding these ways to like basically make it your own Pirates of the Caribbean movie that you were living out.
I've never done an escape room, so I'm kind of even scared to come out there.
Nah, it's super fun. I was really scared the first time I did it too, but I don't know if you're the kind of guy that likes doing puzzles and like solving things or, you know, whatever. But that was like when I had the biggest like brain high when I left the escape room the first time. It was just like this feeling of euphoria from having, you know, solved all these puzzles and figured out all these things and whatever. And it just, every time I did it, it was just as big. So I was like, well, why did I do this? And it brings me so much more joy.
Look, let's see. Tyrone asks, did the PBA change after Bowmore?
I can't really speak to that because Bowmore bought the PBA after I left. As I understand it, they were worried a lot that it was going to, and I'm not sure that it worked. I'm not sure that in the end it changed it that much. But again, I can't really speak to that because I'm not out there day to day. So I don't know what the average day-to-day tour player feels about it. I can just say that I notice it's on TV more. I do notice they have more specialty events, which I know isn't really that great for some of the players in like the 10 to 30 range, like in their ranking.
Yeah.
So, the escape room is located in Mission Viejo off the 5 and Alicia.
5 and Alicia. That's where all the shops are, right?
Which shops?
It's like Alicia. No, maybe not. I don't know.
It's like down where the 405 and the 5 come together.
From Mission Viejo High School.
It's like, so the one that's right off the freeway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's it's a exit north of that.
Okay. I know where that is.
Because Mission Viejo High School is off of La Paz and mine's off of Alicia.
Okay. Well, like I said, when we get out of COVID, I'll come out there and visit you.
It's super fun.
Yeah, we'll have a escape room day and then leave the escape room and maybe have drinks by the pool if I'm invited.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
You might be trapped there. You might be trapped there. You never know.
You're absolutely right, because I'm telling you, I have no clue, none, on how to escape from this crap. Zero. So I will be in there probably longer than anyone else. Yeah.
I mean, it's a minimum of 4 people to come do it. So you need a crew.
Well, shit, I need 4 geniuses on my part here.
That's the funny part about owning is watching people work together and watching what a great team building experience it is. Because I get so many people like you that are newer and think they are going to do terribly. And then they're one of the ones that's, figuring things out, thinking outside the box, or they're finding things that are hidden. Everybody contributes, even though you don't think you might contribute because maybe you don't think you're smart, or maybe you're scared of the concept. It's everybody contributes. I can confirm that, having now worked it for like 6 or 8 months.
Yeah, clearly. Hey, I need 3 buddies. It doesn't matter. 3 buddies that's willing to go to the escape room, but you cannot be dummies. How about that?
But what you need a mix of personalities. You need finders, like people that are good at finding things that are hidden. You need puzzle solvers. You need people that can take these things and take these clues and whatever and solve them. You need all these different types of personalities. And then not only do you need all these types of personalities, but you need to be able to communicate and share your information together effectively to get the puzzles done. And for me, like, it's really rewarding watching people, struggle, and then figure it out. And then they have this feeling of euphoria, this look of euphoria, this look of happiness, that aha moment. And it's so nice to see.
It's probably said, hey, David probably said, is the escape room open to kids?
How old are we talking? I will say that I have had kids as young as 9 or 10 come, but they have to be with their parents. Anybody below 16 needs an adult, mostly because I'm worried that they're going to, break some of the props, and some of the props are expensive. Once you get past like 16, 18, then it's just come with your friends. It's totally fine.
This guy, does Scott know we can go?
Chris, So the backstory behind that is we were on that road trip to Baton Rouge I was telling you about before the show started. We were going to USBC Nationals, and I have no idea why we were talking about Whoopi Goldberg. I couldn't tell you why. I don't know why. And for whatever reason, we're talking about her, and as we finish talking about her, there is a billboard on the side of the freeway with just Whoopi's face and something. I don't remember what it was, but it was like
just out of the blue. You didn't see this at all.
No, we didn't see it coming. And then all of a sudden, like, there was just a billboard with Whoopi's face on it, and we both looked at each other like, "All right, what's going on? What's next?" Because we always know that means some shit's gonna go down.
Wow, that is different. Mm-hmm. That is, but it's funny. That's kind of like talking to your phone and like pulling something up, and then all of a sudden, when you get on the internet, all these ads start popping up. Yeah,
totally, 100%.
The government is listening to us. Just if you guys didn't know that, I just want to put it out there.
Oh yeah. No, so well, now that I own an escape room, I talk about escape rooms a lot. Well, guess what ads always pop up on my Facebook? Other escape rooms.
Really?
Always.
Yeah, see? So be careful what you talk about.
Or don't. I mean, you're going to find what you're looking for that way. Be careful what you wish for when other people are searching through your Facebook.
Man, hey, who were your bowling idols? Look, who were your bowling idols when you was growing up?
God, I grew up with the women because my mom was still out on tour when I was a kid. Yep. So I grew up with the women, and honestly, man, I don't know. Like, it was basically just my mom.
I didn't even say
I didn't really.
You can have bowling idols.
No. I'm just saying, like, I was just my mom because I didn't really. To me, when I went and watched everybody else bowl, like I have a very distinct memory of, I don't know if you remember the WWPB.
No.
It was like, basically, it was like back then the PWBA was the LPBT.
Yeah.
And the WWPB was basically the Western regionals, but it wasn't affiliated, but it was with all the women bowled on the West Coast when they were off tour.
Okay.
So it was like a little regional tour when the national tour was off. And so, I mean, they had like Tish Johnson, Wendy McPherson, Vesma Grenfeld, my mom. I mean, they had all Donna Atomic. They had all these people that would come bowl these tournaments. So, the fields were still stacked.
Right.
And I remember I would go watch her pretty often. And I have two distinct memories. One was Wendy McPherson was bowling. I can't remember if it was actual competition or pro-am, but she chopped a 3-6. And my shithead little 4-year-old ass walked up to her and said, tap, tap, tap. Why'd you miss that? I would have picked that up. Oh, yes. To Wendy McPherson, by the way. Oh, yes. I will never forget that. I will never forget that. And
she probably looked at you like, you little shit.
I would have. And the funniest part was, I would say it was 20 years later, and that story came up, and she's like, "Yeah, you were a little shit. You said this to me." I was like, "Well, I probably would have."
Yeah.
And she laughed. And the other one was after they get done bowling their tournament, everyone goes in the bar and has a couple drinks and relaxes.
Oh yeah.
Well, here's this little 4-year-old that's went and watched mom bowl, and I had zero problem soliciting all the ladies for $1 to go play in the arcade, and they were happy to do it because I was a good gamer. So $1 for me lasted like 45 minutes to an hour.
Right.
So if they could get rid of the little kid for $1, they were happy to. And I was happy because I was like, well, if you're going to take my mom away, then the least you can do is give me $1 so I can entertain myself.
You damn right.
So it was win-win. But those are two of my biggest memories there.
Wow. Hey, LJ said, what is your most challenging oil pattern?
Anything long. I'm a speed dominant player. So anytime there's a long pattern, especially if the volume of oil is high, it's I play the game of just make the ball hit the 5-pin, so it doesn't hit the head pin bounce. If my ball hits the 5-pin, I threw a good shot.
Wow, this guy. When was the last time you threw a ball?
Costa Rica, 2016. My very last shots that I've ever bowled were in Costa Rica for La Raza, and I beat Tommy Jones on to win their little exhibition stepladder TV thing, and that was it. That's the last bowling balls I ever threw. I was like, what? My last bowling ball I ever threw was a strike, and it was enough to beat Tommy Jones, who needed a double to beat me and ring a 10 or something. I can't remember. He threw a really good shot and didn't strike, and so I was like, well.
So where's all your old bowling balls at right now?
You don't want to know. I threw a lot of them away.
Did you really?
Well, I gave away to like the youth leagues. I actually, the JAT came to Saddleback, which is like a few blocks from my house.
Yeah.
And I took probably 3 or 4 triples there, and I was just like, have at. Like, I don't care. However you want to distribute them, if anyone even wants them, I don't know, but like, here. And then the other one I did was at Westminster. My friend Joel Singer, who I've known him since Rossmore when I was bowling juniors. He runs a junior program, or did there, and I took like 4 or 5 bags of triples over, and I said, have at. And that's where most of them went. And the ones that I threw away were like, just ones that were either too old, too beat up. They weren't going to serve anybody any good.
Tyrone Julian said top 5 balls, pre and post.
Oh,
Tyrone, he hasn't bowled in so long, he couldn't even tell you probably.
I really like the Columbia Oath. Man, I'll tell you what, when I was a kid and I threw the ball harder than I threw it when I was on tour, I threw the ball probably a full 2 miles an hour harder when I was a kid.
Right.
When those pro zones came out, the proactive zones from Brunswick, holy God, that was like game changing for me, because finally I had something that was if there was a drop of oil in the lane.
Colors, right?
Yeah, they had a teal and a blue and I think a purple, but I can't remember. But I loved the teal and the blue. Those were like my favorites. And then like the HPDs. I was on Brunswick staff when I was like 19 and on.
Yeah.
For a while. And so that's where a lot of my memories come from. But I also really liked, I had like a Columbia 300 Oath, and I had like 5 of them because that was like what worked out on tour all the time.
Yeah. Let's see. Dave said, wait, who is the maybe competitive female you have bowled against, or the toughest you have bowled against?
There's 3. Well, it's hard because like I grew up with the women, so like I'm used to being around all the women, and they're all super competitive and tough. Like, you can't name me a person that is bowling the PWBA today that isn't. Like, you have the younger crew, like you have Diana Zavalieva, you have Daria Payak, you have, oh gosh, I'm having trouble. Verity Crawley. Others of the younger.
She's a fierce competitor when she's on the line.
And then you have like my age people, like Missy, Shannon O'Keefe, Stephanie Johnson.
What about Shannon? Is she in your age range or younger?
I think she's my age range. Shannon O'Keefe, yeah. I think she's my age range. Who?
Pluhowski?
Shannon Pluhowski. Yeah, she's my age too. Yeah.
Yeah, she's really good too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's just you can't name any of these females. I could be biased and say Missy because, like, she and I both doubles together for anytime there was a mixed doubles tournament, we were partners, and that was just it. And so I know personally how competitive she is because of that.
Right. And she beat you all the time, probably.
All the time. All the time. All the time.
That's
that's another cool little factoid is that Missy and I are one of 5 people to have a mixed doubles 600.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
How many? I wonder how many actually has that. That's a good one.
5? No, there are 5. There are 5. There were 5. There might be more now, but there were 5 in history that had a mixed double 600.
Wow.
And
Who
we
shot
did it in a. She did. So now I'm getting up there like, oh God, I've never been that nervous. Never. I've been on TV. I've won titles. I've done strikes for titles. Whatever. I've never been that nervous.
Right. Wow. And yeah, for her to go first and then you come up like, oh my God.
I was like, oh God. Well, because everybody stopped at that point.
I can only imagine. That's a tough one there. Whew.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, as they say, LJ said, is ball layout more important than skill?
No. Skill is more important. Knowledge is more important because you need to know it's not just ball layout, it's cover.
Yep.
It's grit, like sandpaper you use or polish, knowing your surfaces, knowing what cover stocks you want, and then knowing your RGs and mass biases and the ratios and all these things. Like, it's knowledge more than it's just ball layout, because ball layout just has to do with like pin to mass bias.
Yeah.
Which is important. I don't want to act like it's not. It's super important, but it's more important that you understand why you want to use certain layouts and certain surfaces on certain conditions. Like, what are you trying to see the ball do? Are you trying to see the ball hook more down lane? Are you having trouble getting it through the fronts? Are you having trouble with it not ever hooking? What are you having an issue with? And that's what is more important, is knowing how to take that information and then find the correct ball and the correct answer to solve. It's a puzzle.
Yeah.
Like, so you're solving a little puzzle. You're trying to figure out, here's all the information I have. Now, what's the correct answer? And sometimes there isn't one. Just as an aside, sometimes there is not one.
That's my daughter.
Hi.
Oh, hello.
She's so crazy. Yeah. So what was your reasoning and how hard was it for you to say, I'm gonna put my balls up and give this up?
Well, originally I just wanted to take a sabbatical. Like, I just needed time off. Like, I was burnt out. I needed time off. And then the more I stayed away from it and didn't do it, I didn't miss it. Sorry, one sec. Can you hear me?
Still hear you.
Okay. The more I started realizing that I wasn't missing it, the easier it was to just not do it. And I remember when I really realized that I didn't want to do it anymore was when I went and watched Missy bowl at Fountain for the PWBA stop, and I had zero desire to be out there.
Was that when we were having drinks in the bar?
Which time? I mean, I'm sure it was.
Yeah, I want to say we were drinking. Martinis that day.
That sounds like me.
Yeah, I want to say we had some lemon drop martinis.
Lemon
You was
drops,
like,
yes.
I want to say you were like, hey, Brandon, you have to have one of these, and yeah, it just kind of went from there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks, Scott.
As one does.
I appreciate you, buddy.
No.
Got me in the bar, and I'm like, dude, I shouldn't be drinking these lemon drops. They're delicious.
They are delicious, aren't they?
They really are. So, like I said, when I come to the house poolside, it's either what we talked about before the show or lemon drops. I'm not drinking no Captain and whatever the hell you said that was. I don't
I'll be
know.
having that probably just because it's easy. It's hard.
No.
Craig always is the one. Craig makes the lemon drops because he takes the time to like measure things out and make sure that it tastes good. I'm just like vodka, Lemon juice.
But that's what a martini is. It's a lot of vodka and lemon juice.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Man, but Scotty, anything that we haven't touched on that you want to kind of share with us?
Man, we talked about so much. I will say the biggest thing I missed, the only thing I missed about bowling, oh God, 151 and pineapple.
Did you see that?
Those were memories.
Hey,
Those
anybody who drinks 151 is horrible. 151 is the absolute. That's like Mad Dog 2020 malt liquor. That is horrible.
Yo, it was. There was a bar in West Hollywood that we would start out at that had 151 and pineapple for like $4. So we would have a few of those there, and then we'd be set for the night to just like go and dance elsewhere, so that we didn't have to spend like $14 on a martini at the Abbey.
Man.
Oh, those were the days. But yeah,
hey, I've been to the Abbey.
Oh, the Abbey's awesome.
The
Abbey's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to drink there because the drinks are insanely overpriced, but I love going there to dance.
Yeah, it's you have to know what bars to go to get the good price drinks.
Well, you got to go to the dives. You got to go to the dives to get the good price drinks.
Yeah. Because they know.
Going back to what we were saying, I will say the only thing I miss about bowling, mother load, it was the mother load. The only thing I miss about bowling is the people. I miss being around my friends. That's really it. Like, I would be fine. I think it's been long enough now that I used to, every time I walked into a bowling center, I was like, I just need a sign that says, no, I'm still not bowling. Yes, I'm fine with it. And I think that now it's been long enough that I haven't thrown a ball that people finally kind of get it.
Yeah.
I've already answered the question enough times. So I enjoy just going and seeing people and just hanging out with them. Like, I miss that part of it because it was like a little family. So yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing I miss is just the camaraderie that I had with my friends, because I wouldn't have nearly the friends that I have without bowling, specifically junior bowling. Like the JT, what they've done with JT is just, you can't imagine what it's like to have a little family like that at such, of people who love doing the same thing together. Like it was a real blessing to have that here.
Yeah. Yeah. Dave Yamo is doing a really great job. I know he's hurt with this COVID thing.
I feel so bad for him because he works overtime and beyond overtime trying to get these kids something to bowl, and just with everything going on, my heart goes out to him because he I'm sure he knows, but I'm not sure that he hears enough how much what he does matters to the people that he's doing it for. I'm sure he knows on some level that, the kids are appreciative, but I know for certain he doesn't hear it as often as he should, because what he does is incredible for those kids.
No, you're absolutely right. And like, it's funny because I reached out to him and said, hey, why don't you come on the show? And he was just like deep down COVID. And he was just like, it won't be any fun right now. He was
I can imagine that would be the case.
Yeah. He's just not a happy camper right now.
No, I can't imagine.
Yeah. But Scott, hey, stay in touch. Don't be a stranger. And I'm looking forward. I'm telling you, I'm gonna come to that escape room.
I can't wait. I'm gonna make sure that, I mean, I have you're on camera the whole time, so I'll just have to find a way to record it.
No, do not.
You are on camera. You are on camera, but you're not like, it's not being like written to a hard drive.
Okay, I'm like, dude, because all you need is to put that on and say, guys, you guys want to see Brandon in action? Oh no. Yeah, I would say I'm gonna take my kids, but I'm afraid that their ass wouldn't even know how to get out. So no, I'm not. Yeah. And then we'll all be stuck in there. I'm like looking at the camera. God, come save us, like now. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. But dude, it's been fun. Go ahead. I know it's dinner time. It's beyond dinner time. Yeah. I don't know if you cooked already.
No, we're just about to go do that.
Yeah. So hey, tell Craig we said hello, man, and
I
dude,
will.
I love you guys, dude. Seriously,
Thank
man.
you so much for having me. It was really fun.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely,
and
and
someone
thank
was
you.
asking about the website to the escape room. The escape room's name is Nerdy by Nature Escape Room.
Why don't you type it in right there in the comments?
Yeah, I will. Let me do that right now.
Duh.
I know.
Jeez.
There you go. There's the name of the website.
Bang. There you go. Damn, you type fast. I still would be typing if I had to type that right now.
Gamer.
I am not a typer.
Online, PC gamer, what can I say? When you get mad at the little 5-year-olds that try to troll you and flame you, you just have to learn how to type faster than them.
Really?
Well, somewhat. I mean, I would never flame or troll anyone, ever.
Hey, guys, on the internet note, he's about to get flamed right now for telling that lie. Man, love you, Scott.
I love you too. Have a wonderful night, guys. Thank you so much.
All right, you too. Bye.
Bye.
Man, that was my boy, Scott Norton. He is absolutely amazing human being. If you guys don't know him, go back and listen to his story. He opened his heart up to us. And dude, he opened, like I said, he had he like I said, 3 titles. And dude, like I said, I appreciate him taking the time out to come on and talk to me. Now he's about to go cook dinner with Craig. I don't know what they're having, but yeah, they're about to go cook. So, guys, I thank you guys for coming on and shooting your questions, and thank you guys for the support and everything, man. I truly appreciate it. So, you already know how it goes from the beginning to the end.
I got a strike while the iron is hot. One of one, don't follow flocks. Man, I got this on lock. Team Harvey, team hustle, team can't be stopped. Just cop 900 glory, yeah, I'm fresh out the shop. Let's go bowling. I'm an expert on the lane. Yeah, smooth approach, about to roll a perfect game. And well connected with the sport's biggest names. We can't talk unless an X on the frame. I'm here asking the questions, clear the air and confusion. Fresh, humble, and arrogant with the logo infusion. Red cut for the right vibe. I got the answers. You going live with Bowtie.
Yeah, that's right, guys. Hey, just like I always tell you guys, hey, thank the man above for waking us up this morning and having an opportunity. I thank him for allowing me to even have this platform to share it with you guys. I thank him for blessing me to wake up and go to work every day. Some people can't say that. So just remember, man, all the things that's going on right now, we still have the opportunity to wake up. Some people have it worse. Like I said, we may think we be going through something. Someone else always has it worse than we do. All right, just remember that, man. So, like I said, count your blessings, because once those blessings are gone, you're gonna it's over and done with. So, like I said, man, thank the Lord for everything, and guys, love your loved ones, appreciate them, call them if they are far away, whatever you have to do, just appreciate them and let them know that you are there and that they were on your mind. So, love you guys, man. Like I said, thank you for the support, and I'll catch you guys the next show. All right, Bowtie out. Peace.